Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for Main Event Mark's YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. We're going to be breaking down AEW Full Gear. We're going to be breaking down New Japan Pro Wrestling's Fight in the Valley or Battle in the Valley, whatever the show is called. We're also going to be talking a little WWE here. We're going to be talking about my predictions for Survivor Series. Did I watch SmackDown and Raw going into the build of this show? No. Will I watch the go-home show for SmackDown on Friday? No. Will I give you my predictions on this show right now on this podcast? Yeah, why not? It's fun. It kind of reminds me who's on the show, what matches are taking place on the show. I guess not reminds me, tells me. And who's getting who here. Big WWE shows are still fun to watch. Survivor Series, I mean, the Big Four, Money in the Bank, and that's really it. Those are the big shows that stand out to me that are super, super fun to watch as far as WWE shows throughout the year. I mean, Halloween Havoc from NXT was pretty fun, but it just kind of reminded me that it's not the NXT of old. So I'm really looking forward to Survivor Series because it's, the standard Survivor Series show where the build sucks. Raw versus SmackDown, very lazy booking, but the matches hold up from year to year as they do it. Going into the show here, we got Team Raw on the ladies' side, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega versus Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Shotzi Blackheart, Shayna Baszler, Natalya, and one more to be announced. Who's that gonna be? I don't know. They just released a bunch of ladies. I don't know who else could fill out this card. I don't even know who's on SmackDown. I'm glad to see Shotzi. I'm not too excited to see Shayna Baszler. And then you got Sasha Banks. I'm thinking maybe Becky, or I guess Becky's fighting Charlotte, I think. And we have Bayley, though, is what I meant. Bayley will be the one to be announced. A little pop at Survivor Series. Why not? And I think that SmackDown will win because Sasha Banks is the biggest star that I see on the show. And or maybe they'll have Team Bianca Belair win, but it looks like they're not really pushing her as much anymore from what I understand and what I see. It seems like the Mania rub kind of just lasted to SummerSlam, and then they just pinned her because Becky was back. And I think they might have forgotten about her. I don't know. I don't watch week to week. But going to the guys' side, Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Bobby Lashley versus Team SmackDown, Drew McIntyre, Xavier Woods, he just got hurt. Didn't he just get his crown taken? Jeff Hardy, who I'm actually going to see in concert the day after Thanksgiving. Happy Corbin, and one more to be announced. Who's that one more to be announced? Shit, man, your guess is as good as mine. I'm really upset at Team Raw here because, one, all these guys were on SmackDown, except for Bobby Lashley. They jumped to Raw. They've only been a part of Raw for about a month and a half now, and now they're defending Raw's honor at one of the biggest shows of the year. Plus, Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins should not be in the same team. I know this was a year ago. I know it was like the PC era, but Seth Rollins took out Rey Mysterio's eye. I actually enjoyed, running WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, and then Extreme Rules back to back to back last year during the pandemic era. Then I have, the last few pay-per-views that they've done with fans. So rub it in my face that you're kind of ignoring the storyline is kind of a shitty thing to do. I don't know who's going to pop up the one more on SmackDown. I can't even think of who it would be. I don't know. People here I'm seeing saying Zayn might be the replacement, but who knows? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. But I hope whoever it is helps lead Team SmackDown to victory, because I do not like Team Raw with this Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio teaming up thing. Kind of irks me almost as much as when they teamed up Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole in Undisputed Era. I didn't really like Undisputed Era for like years from the beginning of that faction, because I was so upset that Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly teamed up, because everyone remembers their feud from Ring of Honor and even into New Japan a little bit. So WWE does it again. Rey Mysterio teaming up with Seth Rollins. Why do we keep up? Why do we watch week to week? I don't watch week to week anymore. Why do you watch week to week? Let me know in the comments below why you watch week to week, because I don't anymore. I still enjoy WWE. I still watch the big shows, but week to week, I got to catch up on other wrestling. I got to watch. I mean, usually I'm watching The Voice or The Bachelor or something with my girlfriend, just enjoying my time, than watching WWE shows. But I am excited about Biggie versus Roman Reigns, the WWE champion versus the Universal champion. There's no way in hell, no matter what happens, that Roman Reigns will lose this. Roman Reigns is the guy that they will not let lose anything. He is the most entertaining guy. I've actually went to the Raw a few months ago where Biggie had just won the championship. He got a big pop, don't get me wrong, but he was nowhere close to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the most over guy that shows up to these shows. He needs the title on him as long as possible. I think this run is still going, and he's got to go a few more months before he beats Punk, and I think they need to do that to kind of solidify this new era and kind of stick one to AEW. Why not? It's always fun to throw little jabs at the other company, and I think Roman Reigns holding the title longer than Punk with Hangman in his corner will lead to, just some fun Twitter debates. But that's what I think about Survivor Series. That's my predictions. Go ahead and go to Vegas, bet money on what I just said, because I'm not really just fucking around. But I did watch some really good wrestling this past weekend. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Battle in the Valley, and also AEW Full Gear. Full Gear, the biggest show of the year. I'm going to compare every single match from both those shows. That's right. Battle in the Valley and AEW Full Gear from worst to first. AEW, it's the biggest show of the year, but I wanted to see how a random New Japan Strong show, not random. They hyped it up a little bit. They had some, Okada, Jay White, Impact Champion Moose. They had a lot involved here on New Japan, and I wanted to see how they did. Love seeing the New Japan production in America as far as the cinematography, the camera work. We'll get into the audio issues a little bit. It kind of brings the cinematography, that blue mat, the one camera that's facing the match and then going up the ramp, and it's just great. It's cool to see. It's old school and it's new school. It's fun. It shows you that it's not just the name that's coming to America, but it's the entire brand. Old school vibe in the arena, small balcony up top, but still like a very intimate setting here, even with the balcony. It looked pretty cool. Love seeing Juice go full Macho Man and with his entrance. Jonah Rock showing up, looking at Moose, but then attacking Juice Robinson, letting you know that he's going with New Japan, not going to attack for the Impact Championship. I thought that was pretty cool that they mentioned that. And I also think it's pretty cool that Brian Cage is going to wrestle Jonah Rock in Iowa. So it looks like Jonah Rock is back, open for business, staring down Moose, attacking Juice Robinson, aligning himself with New Japan, which is awesome, picking up right where he left off. He was in Noah. He did real well. He needs to go to New Japan. This is no-brainer. This is perfect. And it'll be kind of cool to see that indie match with him and Brian Cage. There's life after the release here. We see it with Jonah Rock. I really wanted to get into the hype video, the video package here for Okada versus Buddy, but the sound was kind of fucked up. It's bad enough when Matt Cardona as GCW champion is cutting a promo and the sound just sounds ungodly awful. But then New Japan is supposed to be a step above GCW. It's supposed to be competing with AEW and WWE. That's how I see it. That's how I think a lot of New Japan fans see it. But here in California, it sucked, and there's no excuse to have bad sound in California. All the production people, everyone don't. Isn't there isn't that like a showbiz friendly state? What are they doing here? Murphy coming out in Panthers colors. He must be a big fan of Cam Newton coming back. He's back. Buddy Murphy's back, coming out. Or I guess Buddy Matthews here in New Japan. I hope he stays. I hope this is not just his New Japan, one and done kind of thing. I hope he's a part of Wrestle Kingdom in some form or fashion. The U.S. title getting defended. Maybe you could have Kenta versus Buddy Murphy for the U.S. Championship. two 205 Live guys from the classic era of 205 Live that I enjoy going at it. That would be really cool. Handshake at the end, I popped huge. Okada versus Buddy Murphy. Disappointing video package. Okay match. Best part at the end, handshake. Kingston and Punk, we didn't get that out of them, and that was even better. That popped me too, because wrestling is amazing. 2 great shows, 1 great weekend. I'm going to go into my thoughts of AEW Full Gear, my overall thoughts, and then we're going to break down the matches from worst to first in a little bit. The Acclaim coming out, first thing, super hot crowd. They're getting some heat. Shut the fuck up. They handled it well. They said, no, we're not, and they kept going. And it wasn't Anthony Bowen saying this. It was Anthony Bowen saying it. It wasn't Max Caster. So that was kind of cool to see him kind of come into his own here, not let this big crowd kind of affect him, because he's the guy. He's the big cast in the end zone cast of this team. He's the Billy Gunn. He's with the Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. He is, the guy who's known to not be on the mic as much. So that was kind of cool to see. Always sick video packages for Darby Allen. I really like this one. It kind of reminded me of watching CKY back in the day, or maybe even Control, that movie about Joy Division. Love both those films, CKY and Control, and this kind of blended those two things together for me, and it was a wrestling entrance. Super cool artwork. You gotta love Darby Allen. Green shirt guy in attendance. Brock Lesnar guy in attendance. You see a lot of the staples from these WWE show fans jumping over to AEW. I guess we'll see at Survivor Series if these guys make their way on Survivor Series, because right now it seems like they're going AEW. Are these hardcore WWE fans jumping over, or do they just enjoy wrestling? We're going to see at Survivor Series this weekend. Cool to see them all there. It's kind of like I'm a fan of these fans at this point. Woman screams at Cody when they go to the outside during his match, but then a guy in a Dark Order shirt is booing Cody. He's getting that Cena treatment right now, and I think it might work out for his legacy, but as of right now, it probably is going to be the hardest thing to do, is to be that Cena guy in a work rate promotion, and in a promotion where there's so many. To keep going with the WWE theme, there's so many internet darlings. Can you handle being the Cena? Will the Cena get lost in the shuffle with all these internet darlings, or will he rise? They say he's not going heel, but is the audience wanting you to be heel and you not going heel a bigger heel move than being heel and being kind of loved to be hated? I don't know anymore. I don't fucking know anymore. Cody is making me think beyond comprehension here, and I'm just like kind of getting hypnotized by his neck tattoo or something. I don't know what's going on, but I'm a fan of Cody. I'll say it, I'm a fan. I like him. I liked his match. We'll get into that a little later. Good hype video here, and entrances for the ladies championship. That was the best part of the match, and the match was okay. Ty Conte with the face paint, and then, Fozzy playing out Britt Baker, and it didn't feel weird to have Fozzy playing out Britt Baker. It made sense. I mean, you gotta have 2 cool entrances back to back. You can't have Ty Conte outdo Britt Baker in a women's championship match, and we saw that she wouldn't outdo Britt Baker as the night went forward. Punk with the MMA / boxing shorts instead of the long pants. I thought that was pretty cool. As a runner, I like the short shorts. Why not do it? Handshake at the end, though. Like we talked with Okada and Murphy, Kingston did not do it. Kingston did not show that respect. The crowd was also split. The crowd dueling chants for this whole match. We didn't get dueling chants for the main event with Hangman and Omega. The crowd was solely behind Hangman. So here, Kingston kind of stealing a little bit of CM Punk thunder. I really enjoyed that. I think that this feud and this match solidifies that Punk is actually back in wrestling. I feel like Punk came back to AEW. Yeah, sure, he signed a contract, but he was kind of doing a victory lap. He had that glory match with Darby. He wrestled Hobbs. He wrestled a few other people, and it really didn't hit the way Punk matches used to hit. I was wondering if he lost a step, but this feud shows that the ring work and the mic work are at an all-time. He's still peaking. He's still peaking, guys. I feel like Punk has got a few more in the bag, and we finally saw it here with this Kingston feud. The victory lap is over. His I'm back into wrestling is done. Now it's back to the matches, and I think that him blading kind of signified that. It's like, whoa, the star bleeds. The star is just like any other wrestler. It was cool to see. It was really cool to see, and I guess they're not done. Will we get more Kingston and Punk matches? I sure as hope so. Will we get a Sammy Guevara Jay Lethal match? Yes, we will. It's already announced for Dynamite. Jay Lethal is All Elite. It makes sense. I mean, he's done Impact. He's done Ring of Honor. He's even done a Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan. So with all this that happened with Ring of Honor recently, Jay Lethal's opened up. He kind of said, oh, there's a forbidden door. He didn't say, like, yeah, Ring of Honor fired everybody, which, you know, why would you say something like that? And he was also at All In. He was a big star at All In, so it's cool to bring him over. And one of the critiques of AEW is they do not have a lot of black stars. Jay Lethal is a legitimate black star in the world of pro wrestling. He's in a lot of people's top 5 wrestlers of the last 5 or 6 years. So it just makes sense for multiple reasons to bring him along. And we're going to get him versus Guevara, which is a pretty interesting match because he kind of was solidified in Ring of Honor, solidified in Impact when Guevara was coming up through Lucha Underground, through Wrestle Circus in Austin, through PWG. So they kind of never really crossed paths, but now Guevara is holding, the TNT Championship in AEW. So this is kind of, in many ways, he came up and passed Jay Lethal, maybe leapfrogged over Jay Lethal to get to that spot. And I can see Jay Lethal taking a little exception to it. Am I writing the storyline for them? Yeah, I haven't seen them talk about any of this shit, but I did see them hold the title up and stare each other down, and I'm fucking ready for that match. Love Hangman's entrance. Kind of reminded me, I'm going to bring it up again, of John Cena's entrance with the Ferrari in Detroit in the WrestleMania. I think it was 23 or 24 against Triple H. Here he is in Minneapolis. They show the Dark Order running down those, I forget what they're called, but it's like the mall, these hallways. You see it in the Mighty Ducks. I'm not even from Minneapolis, and I know those building to building, second story hallways to go over the street is a Minneapolis thing. You see the Dark Order running that way, but then you see Hangman on the horse. Great video package and a great match. We're going to go into all the great matches because there wasn't a damn bad match in the lot of all these matches. 18 good matches. Well, let's just say 16 good matches. There was a few that, watching wrestling all the time, you could just kind of skip over. And Bateman, Mysteriosa versus Dickinson and King, unfortunately, was one of those matches. 18 out of 18, working over Brody. Hot tag to Dickinson, working over Dickinson, hot tag to Brody. Mysterioso does a crazy dive. I'm thinking the match is about to pick up, but Bateman does something. The cameras don't catch it. The announcers don't catch it. Roll up 1, 2, 3. Bateman steals one from Dickinson and King and also steals one from the audience at home. We can't even watch what happens. Way to go, New Japan production there. 17 out of 18. LA Dojo, Carl Fredericks, and Clark Connors versus the United Empire, TJP and Jeff Cobb. United Empire cutting the ring in half. Cobb manhandling Connors. Huge German by Connors. Fredericks gets the hot tag. Catapult Hardy Boy style, but they don't hit this weird sidekick. He does the double stomp. I've never seen that move before. That's what gets them to jump up to 17 out of 18. That's what made this match better than the match that I just spoke about. LA Dojo, 1, 2, 3. Cool to see these guys. I went to a New Japan show in North Carolina, believe it or not, and a week before this happened, there was a travel ban that Donald Trump put over anyone from Japan to America. So unfortunately, I just bought my ticket, and there was not going to be any Japanese talent on the card. So it kind of bummed me out. Great O'Khan happened to be there because he had a visa from the UK and he hadn't debuted in New Japan yet. So that was kind of interesting to see. It was cool to see Colt Cabana on that card. But let's bring it back to what I'm actually talking about. Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks had the opening contest that evening, and it was super cool to see them. I had never seen them before. I'd heard about the LA Dojo reopening. I think Scorpio Sky and Shibata were the coaches at that time. So I've been watching these guys for years now, and it's cool to see them come into their own for New Japan Strong. I feel like New Japan Strong is made for these guys. MJF and Darby Allen talk about the pillars of AEW. I think that Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks are some of the pillars of New Japan Strong, and it's cool to see them go over here at 17 out of 18. 16 out of 18, though, is Josh Alexander versus Yuya Yamura, the curtain jerker of the New Japan Strong show. Stiff chops here. Yuya holding his own here with some drop kicks and some elbows. Ankle lock. Yuya taps out. I guess it wasn't bad, so it wasn't last place, but here it is, sitting at number 16 out of 18. Looking back on it, it probably should have been 17, but here it is at 16. Number 15, Rosa and Shida versus Nyla and Hayter. I guess these are the four women that are still in the TBS tournament. This was the curtain jerker of Full Gear. This was not even on Full Gear, it was on the pre-show, but it was still an alright match. A little bit better than the first matches from New Japan. Shida in trouble, Rosa getting frustrated, cross bodies to Nyla and Hayter respectively from Shida and Rosa. Deeb on the outside distracts Rosa as Vicky Guerrero comes in with the kendo stick, taking out Shida. Deeb, I guess, bought a ticket to fuck with Shida here. No love lost, but frog splash from Nyla. 1, 2, kick out. A bunch of sloppy shit happens. 1, 2, 3. Shida and Rosa get the victory. I don't know what the hell happened at the end there. That ending held them back from going further. They're sitting at 15 out of 18. But sitting at 14 out of 18 is a match that I really wasn't looking forward to at all. Team Filthy versus Team Rosser. It was a fun little match. First time seeing West Coast Wrecking Crew. They were great. Power slam by Rosser. 1, 2, 3. That's all you can really say about the match. It was fun. It was exciting. But don't really go out of your way to watch it. The number 13, I'm pretty sure people are going to be upset with me at the placing of this, but there was just so much good wrestling. This is where the AEW Women's World Title match ended up. Ty Conte versus Britt Baker. Snug running boots by Ty Conte. Cross body. 1, 2. Baker kicks out. Neck Baker from Britt. 1, 2. Ty kicks out. Rebel gets on the apron. Hayter throws Ties into the steps. Conte hits a moonsault on both of them, wiping them out. Hits a DDT on Britt Baker, but Baker does roll Conte up somehow. 1, 2, 3. She steals one. Solid little match, but really wasn't long enough and didn't go into as much detail as some of these other matches, and wasn't the spectacle of a few of these matches that are coming up, just like the match that Britt Baker's boyfriend or husband or whatever was involved in, the Super Elite versus Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. Just like Team Filthy and Team Rosser, this match was just a lot of fun, but unlike them, they went all over the building. Huge brawl to start the match. Jungle Boy getting over using a chair. Cole busted open here. Cole goes through a table. Matt Jackson elbow through a table. Christian Cage dives off the upper deck into a little area below. This is a really cool spot. Looked cool from a wide angle. Thumbtack knee pads, not as cool as Thumbtack Nikes, but we've already seen Thumbtack Nikes. You love the innovation. 1, 2, 3. Jungle Boy gets the pin. He should have gotten the pin. It sits at number 12 out of 18. Number 11. Cody and Pac versus Andrade and Black. Nothing wrong with this match. Kind of, I would say 11 and 13 through 13, those three matches, they can kind of be interchangeable here. Pac and Cody bickering, Andrade and Black bickering, Glock Anderson chasing off Andrade's henchman, split-legged moonsault from Andrade, 1, 2, Pac kicks out, pendulum DDT from Andrade, hot tag to Cody, 1-2, Andrade kicks out again. 450, 1-2, Andrade kicks out yet again. Black Arrow, 1-2-3. Pac gets the victory for his team with Cody. This was, an all right little match here, but it didn't have enough to crank into the top 10. What did crank into the top 10 was Juice versus Moose. Juice Robinson versus Impact World Champion. As I burp. Moose. Sorry, guys. Enjoying some Red Oak Bavarian Amber Lager here. It gives me some of the burps as I'm recording this podcast. Neck and neck, these two go in the early going. Left hand of God and Hurricane Rana from Juice. Frog Splash, 1-2. Moose kicks out. So much Eddie Guerrero stuff here from multiple Three Amigos attempts from both shows, multiple frog splashes from both shows, even looking up in the sky and saying "I love you, Eddie." Chris Jericho does in his match, and we got it in this match here: Juice versus Moose. Frog Splash. 10 minutes as they 10 minutes elapse as they are just battling with strikes. This is awesome chance. Moose kips up, big pop. Big spear, 1-2-3. The Impact Champion pins Juice Robinson. And then Juice Robinson gets attacked from Jonah Rock. Not a very good night for Juice Robinson in Cali. Number 9, American Top Team versus Inner Circle. This was a pretty fun match. This was a spectacle of a match. So a really good spectacle can crank you into the top 10, but really can't get you pushed to the upper echelon of the top 5 or even beyond 9. Santana and Ortiz are underrated. Velosky and Junior Del Santos hit a double shoulder tackle, and I think Velosky hits a standing moonsault, if I'm not mistaken. So that was kind of the extent of their wrestling here. Really, they kind of did a lot of brawling and stuff. Ethan Page with a hockey stick to Chris Jericho's back. Canadian on Canadian violence here. Sammy Guevara with a WrestleMania 2000 Jeff Hardy-esque swanton bomb off the ladder through Scorpio Sky's chest and through a table. Funny Minneapolis-themed weapons here. Baron Von Rossky, of all people, getting involved. Dan Lambert being a really good chicken shit heel, running around but getting caught in the frog splash. 1-2-3. Inner Circle beats American Top Team. Fun little match. And what was another fun little match that I thought was, contender for number 1 prior to watching these shows, Okada versus Buddy Murphy or Buddy Matthews. It was fun, it was good, but it really didn't hit that tier that I wanted to hit. I thought this was top 5 for sure. I thought this was a shoo-in for the top 5, but it only sits at number 8. Buddy Matthews controlling the pace. Okada locks in the money clip. Buddy with a senton to the floor. Okada with an elbow off the top. Crowd chanting his name here. Buddy counters the Rainmaker with a buckle bomb and curb stomp. Okada hits the Rainmaker. 1-2-3. We knows whose house it is. It's fucking Okada's house. And he laid out the guy who came, fresh off his WWE layoff and showed him that New Japan, you can't just walk in the front door and expect to beat one of the legends of the industry. Number 7, though, another match that I thought was a shoo-in for the top 5, sits at number 7. Bryan versus Miro. Danielson with a black eye, kind of setting the tone for this. All Miro, though, in the early going here. Yes, kicks, 1-2. Miro kicks out. Miro counters with a powerbomb, 1-2. Danielson kicks out. Miro looking up at his god, as they said. This cracked me up. He locks in the game over. Danielson gets to the ropes. Danielson taps Miro out to become the number 1 contender. This wasn't the best match on either show by any means, but it was perfect for its placement on the card that they were on, which is like a kind of a tip of the cap to these veterans. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly how to pop the crowd and not get forgotten about by any means, but not steal the show. Veteran move from both men. Number 6, Osprey versus Red Narita. This is my favorite Red Narita match of all time, and it's not even in the top 5 from both these shows. Osprey with a very arrogant upper hand at the early going here. Narita with a suplex to the floor. 1-2. Will kicks out, and right after the pin, Ren Narita stays on him, locks in a submission. Bridging German, 1-2. Osprey kicks out again. Snug kicks, powerbomb, 1-2. Narita kicks out. Os Cutter, 1-2. Narita kicks out of the Os Cutter, only for Will Ospreay to hit the hidden blade, 1-2-3. Will Ospreay gets the victory. I didn't mention this with my rundown, but Osprey and Okada stare down here after the Okada-Murphy match. Obviously, that Okada won the G1, so he's bringing back the IWGP World Championship, his favorite title, my favorite title, everyone's favorite title. And Osprey, who didn't lose to Shingo technically, so he's still claiming that he's the world champion. So we have two fake world champions staring each other down, issuing challenges to each other at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know how Shingo Takagi, the actual lineage of the world championship champion, feels about it. But I'm sure it's all going to come out. There's 3 big nights of Wrestle Kingdom this year, and it looks like we already got a main event for one of those nights. I think they said January 8th, which is the last night of Wrestle Kingdom, which would be Okada versus Osprey. I'm not sure if it'll play out that way, but I think that's what's happening. I mean, who knows who's going to win between those two people here? I mean, Osprey's had great matches with Shingo. Shingo and Osprey have had Shingo and Okada have had good matches, and Osprey and Okada have had great matches. So either one, the fans are winning here. But we're not going to be talking about Wrestle Kingdom. We'll be talking about the top 5 from if you rank every single match from worst to first, from AEW Full Gear and New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle in the Valley. And number 5 is FTR versus the Lucha Bros. This match was great. It sat at number 2 for a long time, until it kind of got pushed down by a lot of these great matches that we saw at the end of both these shows. Assisted Cannonball Senton by the Lucha Bros looked great. Frog Splash 1-2, Cash breaks it up. Phoenix used Dax's ass as a springboard to hit a cross body onto Cash as Penta is holding Dax up for the package pile driver. I know that sounded crazy, but it was even crazier to see. Go back and watch this match if you're listening to my voice and you haven't done it yet. I was marking out. I'm marking out a little bit here. Cash puts a mask on to fool the ref, but ends up getting pinned as the illegal man. So a little bit of shenanigans here. I don't think this is going to be the last match between these two teams. FTR is pissed, but Rick Knox holding up Lucha Bros' hand at the end of it. That finish there, that little flunky finish, it was kind of creative, but I didn't really enjoy it. I know it's going to be moving on to where we're going to get the final match between these guys, so I don't mind it too much. It doesn't frustrate me like Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio being on the same team, for instance. But it is why it maybe got bumped out of the top 3 and is at number 5. Number 4, though, Punk versus Kingston. I've already talked a lot about this match. Kingston dropping Punk before the bell. Brawl starts. Dueling chants here. I was pretty surprised about the dueling chants. Kingston throws Punk into the steps and busts him open. Bloody clothesline off the apron from Punk. Both men flick each other off as Punk is landing clobbering blows. GTS. This is awesome. Chants fill the air. And then another GTS, 1, 2, 3. CM Punk gets the victory, but does not get the handshake from Kingston. He wants Kingston's respect. That's the funny thing about this feud. Punk, the multiple-time world champion, wants the respect from Kingston. Kingston showed Punk that he deserves respect in this match, but he did not reciprocate the respect. Pretty interesting feud here. A lot of interesting dynamics to dive into, and it was pretty much based off of two backstage segments, 1 promo, 1 match, and I'm fucking hooked. Number 3 out of 18, Ishii versus Jay White, the main event of Battle in the Valley. White trying to slow the pace down as usual. Ishii with a scoop slam and snug chops. Dueling chants here in this crowd. Dueling strikes. White spills to the floor. Brainbuster 1, 2. Ishii kicks out. Sliding lariat 1, 2. White kicks out. But Brainbuster again 1, 2, 3. Ishii is the new champion. So cool. Really happy for Ishii. But wasn't the coolest title change of the weekend. We'll get into that after we talk about the number 2 match, MJF versus Darby Allen, the curtain jerker of the main show, and it's at number 2. This was a great match. Talk about pillars. I mean, these guys might be the 2 pillars. I think they're jumping above Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara with matches like these. Crowd on their feet with how good this match was at the early going. MJF cocky. Darby gets some air, knocking him down. Best suicide dive in the game. Darby misses a coffin drop on the apron. MJF hits some pretty cool moves here, like pretty fucking impressive here. MJF powerbomb, and as he's dropping down, he turns it into a spine buster. He also hits like a kind of an Alabama slam style powerbomb. Darby ends up reversing another powerbomb into the code red. Coffin drop on the outside, connects, gets him back inside. Coffin drop in the inside. MJF gets his knees up. Sting fights off the Pinnacle on the ramp. MJF uses his ring that he won doing the Battle Royal. Headlock takeover, like he claimed, takes down Darby. 1, 2, 3. MJF needed this fucking victory. He needed a big win after, losing to Jericho. I really feel like he hasn't gotten the stink of losing to Jericho off of him until this match, until he beat Darby. This was a big win for him, and a very cocky, arrogant MJF way to win the match, claiming that he was going to win with a headlock, and then he fucking did, of course, after he used the Dynamite Diamond ring. And then you guys know the number one match on both shows. You know by now. You already probably knew before I did the list. Omega versus Hangman. Omega, trying to keep control of the pace here. Callis does get involved, choking out Hangman. Hangman dives on Omega on the outside. Omega uses the rail to his advantage on the outside. Hangman suplexes Omega on the outside. Let's go Hangman chance. No dueling chance, like I said before, going into a strike battle. Omega dives, huge senton over the top rope. Hangman dives on Kenny. Goes up, hits a moonsault on the champion. Springboard Liger bomb into the ring by Omega. German on the apron. German from Hangman, Tiger Driver from Omega, 1-2, Hangman kicks out, Avalanche Brainbuster off the top, 1-2, Kenny kicks out, Hangman bleeding as he hits a clothesline, sending Omega through a table. Omega just can only collapse to avoid the buckshot lariat at this point, but pops up to hit a German. This was crazy here. This kind of goes into like another level here from every other match. Just the storyline aspect of it and how good this match actually was. He's not able to hit the buckshot until he hits the buckshot on the ref. Callis then gets caught trying to use the title on Hangman. Hangman catches him, drops him, turns around. Referee Aubrey Edwards does the Charles Robinson 1-2. Huge lariat from Hangman, takes both men down again as the Young Bucks come limping out. And this was no good reason at all. I have no clue why they came out here. There's no fucking point to this. Here's your equal attention cake, Young Bucks. I guess that's why they had to come out there. Hangman said something threatening, saying that he would never forgive them or something like that if they came out. He would hunt them down if they interfered. Buckshot then countered by the V trigger, which was a pretty cool spot. Omega going for the pin. 1, 2. No. Buckshot lariat from the back as the Bucks kind of lure forward. Buckshot lariat from the front. 1, 2, 3. Hangman wins. The only problem with the match would be the Bucks coming out. That stopped it from being a perfect wrestling match. But that's nitpicky here. This was a great match. Cool to see Hangman with the championship. Like I said, AEW needs their own staple champion to hold up that championship. Of course, he came from Ring of Honor and then into New Japan Pro Wrestling, even competing in the G1. I'm talking about Hangman Adam Page. But he is peaking now. His wrestling is peaking. His character is peaking in AEW in the last 2 years, which, all these other guys that they brought over, like Cody, I think Cody kind of peaked in Ring of Honor. Omega, he peaked in New Japan. Bucks, peaked kind of in that PWG, kind of creating this whole era that we see before you. But Adam Page had yet to peak, but he kind of had joined those names in, jumping over to AEW and starting AEW and being an All In. And here he is with the championship after having the tag titles with Omega and then turning on the Elite. Here he is with the champion. This is truly, in my opinion, the first official AEW champion. No disrespect to Chris Jericho, no disrespect to Jon Moxley or Omega, but they made their name outside of AEW. This guy, Hangman Page, made his name in AEW, and it's cool to see. They're going to Virginia, his home state, for AEW Dynamite next Wednesday. They're coming to Greensboro, North Carolina, where Hangman Page lives, where I used to live up until January, for AEW Dynamite December 22nd, and they're coming to Raleigh in January. So they know what they're doing with Hangman. They're trying to get that Britt Baker level pop, and I think they will, especially in this area for Hangman. Flair is kind of obsolete in the world of pro wrestling in 2021, sad to say. Will this become Hangman country? We will find out. Stay tuned to Curtain Jerkin, and we will break it down every single week for you guys, like we break down everything every single week. I really do appreciate you guys listening. Fly high. I'm out.